Alright, if you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott with Rickety Ski Reviews, and today we're going to try something a little bit different. You know, we've been kind of picking on Curated, and they definitely deserve that, but today I'm going to actually go through and look at a different ski review channel. So I'm going to look at Ski Essentials. I typically haven't reacted to their review content just because for the most part it tends to be accurate. I tend to not super agree with everything, but you know what? I really haven't watched their content in a while, and maybe, I don't know, maybe this is like a good kind of new challenge to try. So let's check out Ski Essentials. I'm gonna go with the ski that I'm super familiar with. So let's start with the 2023 Atomic Maverick 95 Ti from Ski Essentials. Okay.
Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2023 ski test. Today we're going to look at the Atomic Maverick 95.
Okay, already off the bat, I can say that I respect the way he has the skis in the vise. That might not mean anything to most of you, but I used to work at a ski shop, and there are two kind of schools of thought when you're tuning a ski. You can put it vertical with the vise grips, or you can put it flat, depending on what you're doing. But typically, if you're tuning in the East Coast, the side is a little bit better because it allows you to have a smoother glide. Versus having it flat, it's a little bit faster because you can kind of run down each side. But people who are meticulous about your edges, they'll have them kind of on their side like that. So, I don't know. That seems so petty, but already I can tell, like, you would have to be tuning skis pretty frequently to know that. So, anyway.
There's three skis in the Maverick line that use metal: 88, 95, and 100. So this is kind of the middle child, so to speak, which, you know, sometimes gets overlooked.
Why is the audio?
Sometimes you want to look, you focus on the 88 because it's better in firm snow, or you focus on the 100 because it's better in soft snow. There's a lot to like about this 95. You know, it kind of falls right in between. That means it's taking elements of both.
Okay, everything he's saying is spot on. The 88 is definitely really good in groomers, and the 100 is definitely better in the softer snow. Yeah, nothing groundbreaking there. I will say, though, that while those are accurate, the range and difference isn't always elaborated on. Like, for instance, 88 Ti, I would feel totally comfortable taking on a powder day. It's not as good as a 95 or a 100, but it's still really good. So you just have to pick what your priority is. But for most people, I'd say, like, you could ski an 88 Ti and still have plenty of fun in the powder. I've done it for the last like 2 years and it's great. So just depends. I know what they're going for, but it's like, if you went to an 88 Ti for powder, you're not sacrificing as much as you may think. There might be, you know, 10% of days out there where you wanted something wider, but it's pretty minimal, especially on the East Coast. But that's just my 2 cents. His skiing, on the other hand, or whoever this is skiing in the video, it's a little bit of like hop turns. Like, so rather than loading the ski, what you can do is you can build pressure on the ski that's going to be the downhill ski, and you can kind of initiate your turn that way. What some people will do when they don't understand that is they'll kind of lift their body up and make kind of like a hop. It's called a hop turn, and they'll basically release the pressure on their ski and build the pressure on the new ski by doing that hop maneuver. It's kind of a crutch. It's not very good. When you're in the trees, you kind of have to do it, but for someone carving, all I would say is, if you want to start your new turn, just start pressuring a new ski and be patient rather than doing the hopping that I'm kind of seeing here on the camera. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Overall, still good skiing, good downhill pressure, but your transition from turn to turn could use some work.
Both worlds. It's great on groomers, it's great off trail, just a very well-rounded ski and a very well-rounded width too. I think that's...
Also, dude, you're in the East Coast. What do you need big baskets like that for? Come on. And I know where this is. This is near, I have family that lives over there. He's at Stowe. There's very little you need giant baskets like that for, unless you're backcountry skiing, which then maybe you get a pass. But dude, you don't need baskets that big. Okay, anyway.
Fair to say about skis in the mid-90s is extremely versatile for different terrain and different snow conditions.
That's very true. 95 is kind of a nice width for that. Very accurate. Okay.
Pretty cool build in these skis. Atomic does a great job keeping the weight down while also building some power into them. So they call it...
Yeah, that's a very good read, very accurate. They are very light and they do get a lot of power when you load the downhill ski. That's a very astute observation, and would only happen if you were really loading the ski to kind of feel that. So, or having like a good sense of a ski. So, tip of the cap, that's good.
Omatic core. Basically, we get poplar as a wood core material, and then we get 2 sheets of Titanal metal in this ski. I say that, and I kind of emphasize that because the metal is quite a bit thinner in these skis than you'd see in other skis or some other skis that use metal, like if you were to compare it to a Redster race ski or something like that. Thinner.
Okay, my only little critique there is like if you're gonna compare the metal in that ski to another ski, don't use the Redster because that's another Atomic ski, right? And those are meant to have like different levels of metal to perform different functions, and the cut's completely different. I would maybe do a little bit more apples to apples, like compare it to a K2 Mindbender or compare it to a Volcal Mantra. Something that's still kind of in that all mountain class and cut. Whereas, you know, the Redster is like a cheater ski. It's designed that way to be different, versus this is in that category but using kind of the metal and the poplar in a different way. That's a small nitpick, but
thinner in here, which allows them to keep that weight down quite a bit. So this ski in the 180 centimeter length, which is a little longer than what we have here, comes in right around 1,800 grams, which is pretty darn light for a ski with 2 sheets of metal. That's kind of been a trend in the industry, is trying to lighten up skis without sacrificing.
yeah, and one thing that's worth mentioning too is that they've been doing that since the Vantage, right? When they did like the Titanal in the back and then the carbon in the front. They're always trying to kind of keep that light down. The weight down. So I mean that's not necessarily anything new. That's something they've been kind of scratching at for a while, and this is kind of just a new attempt at it.
Biasing their overall performance and their overall feel, and I think Atomic has done an excellent job of that. You know, you say thinner metal, but...
Yeah, okay, this is something that somebody who has worked in a shop or somebody who knows what they're talking about does. You can talk about a ski and hold a ski all you want, but if I go to a shop, the first thing I'm doing is I'm doing exactly what he's doing, where you're flexing the ski to kind of get a sense for how it's going to flex when you load it. And that is like spot on. Like that, these little things that indicate to me this guy knows what he's talking about, or at least has experience around skis. So, all right. I mean, I know this seems like a nothing burger, but to me it's like if I ever went into a shop, I look for these indicators to see, do these people know what they're talking about? And so far, color me impressed. A little off on a couple things, but, you know, nitpicks. All good stuff.
Still a pretty darn stiff, powerful ski there, and it comes across that way when you ski it as well. Looking at shape and a couple other construction elements, or at least one major construction element, we get quite a bit of tip rocker up here, as well as Atomic's Horizon Tech. So that Horizon Tech uses like a beveled finish to the base of the tip. In this sense, it's only in the tip. In some skis, we get it in the tail as well. And speaking of the tail...
Yeah! See, he finally got it right. He finally got the Horizon Tech right. When we did that curated one, he was just describing tips. Whereas like Zach explained in our review of the 2024 Atomic Maverick TI, it kind of has this boat hole shape to it. So yes, thank you. Somebody finally got Horizon Tech right. It's like all the other reviews I see, it's like they're just reading off a sticker. He seems to have like a real understanding for it. And also he was totally, I can definitely tell he's felt the ski, whereas a lot of people, it seems like they're just reading off of a script. The way that he describes kind of the power and the lightness combination, which really is what makes the Atomic Maverick stick out for me. This is really accurate. Nice.
This is a directional ski, but we still get a decent amount of tail rocker back here. There's not a lot of splay, but lengthwise, there's a good amount of rocker there. And then of course we get camber underfoot. You know, it'd be pretty weird if these skis didn't have camber underfoot.
Okay, one thing he's missing here too is I would appreciate if he explained why the camber is important. For me, as somebody who's been skiing on these skis and skiing on Vantages, it's like, okay, yeah, that makes total sense why there's camber, because what they're doing is basically if you took the Vantages and the Mavericks, because the Maverick is just the predecessor to the Vantage, you would see that the Vantages are a lot thicker, and what the Mavericks are doing is rather than using that thickness to save on weight, they're actually using the camber to get that same shape as the Vantage and get that same feel that people really loved out of the Vantage. So, you know, kudos for mentioning it, but maybe just a little bit more context on why it's there and kind of what it's replacing.
Companies tried to do that. Some still do. I think camber is pretty darn important for a ski unless you're really trying to make something unique or for a specific application. So, good camber in this ski, not as springy as some. This ski has, I'd say, a mix between...
Yeah, I mean, camber is really important, especially if you want pop out of your turns. At least that's the way I understand camber. I've always thought about it. Yeah, but this may be something where he's just said it so many times that he didn't really bring that up. But yeah, I mean, I do agree with him. Camber is important.
Energy and more of a damp feel when you think about its performance. So speaking of performance, just versatile. Versatile is the name of the game here. All of the Maverick skis carve really well. They don't feel like they're designed to be specifically carving skis.
What? All right, now you lost me. I do understand what he's saying. Like, they're not like a race cheater ski, but I think these skis are the best carvers that you could actually buy on the market right now. I get what he's saying, where like something like the Red Stir is kind of designed for that, and especially on the East Coast, you know, having that edge-to-edge time is really important. But I respectfully disagree. I think that I agree with him saying that they're versatile, because they are. They're the most versatile ski you could buy. I had the Vantages, and I literally had just one pair of skis for 3 years, and that was the Atomic Vantage, because similar to the Maverick, it just does so much. It can carve and just rip. It does great when you take it off the trail and go into the powder. You know, when I only could afford to have one pair of skis, those are great skis. That being said, he's totally missing, and maybe this is like a skill thing because he's kind of doing those hop turns. He's totally missing out on how well these can carve. I mean, there's a reason, like, I think Darren Rawls is kind of like latched on to that product specifically, because you can just shred and link your turns and load it up and carve. I would argue that these are the best carving skis that you could get. And especially somebody, and maybe this is an East Coast versus West Coast thing because I'm on the West Coast now, but there's nothing I would rather ski on when it comes to carving. They're forgiving in the transition. They feel so good when you load them up on the tip. I don't think there's a better carving ski. Maybe this is a deal where he's, you know, because Ski Essentials does also sell skis. As much as I think these guys are accurate, I don't think you can just push one product. And so maybe you want to have the Red Stir as your carving ski when you're selling. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly why they're doing this, but, or maybe, you know, for his skiing style, he's not getting the full range out of the ski. But I would argue for sure that Atomic Mavericks are probably the best carving ski I've skied on in the last 10 years. I mean, they're just amazing, but that's my opinion. Let's keep going.
And a lot of that's coming from this shovel design, this tip design. You know, it's not just ripping you across the fall line into a carving turn, but as you're in a carving turn, you know, if that's what you want to do and you tell the ski, like, no, we're going to make some carves now, it's...
Oh, I see what he's saying. Yeah. He's like, it's not initiating for him. Yeah, I mean, if you have to be somebody who really likes loading the ski and then feeling it latch on, what you're probably looking for is something more like a Fisher Ranger. Fisher Rangers will kind of give you easier turn initiation. I think he's conflating the quality of the turn with the ease of initiation. And for some people, the style of their skiing would do that. And I'm sure he would like love a Fisher Ranger because those are really easy to kind of initiate. They don't take a lot of leverage on your ski boot to get the initiation going. But I would say the overall quality, once you initiate and load up your downhill ski, is better on the Atomic Maverick. But that may just be a ski style thing.
It's pretty darn strong. I'm sure there are stronger skis out there, but standing here off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that feels stronger that is also this weight range, or at least that feels this maneuverable and this fun. So that's kind of the key to these Maverick skis is you get good stability, you get...
Yeah, I mean, I would say the K2 Mindbenders probably feel a little bit stronger just because like you load them and they really track, but the quality of the turn, building it, and all of the other things, Atomic Maverick is definitely a better ski in my opinion than the K2 Mindbender. But yeah, I mean, strong is such a nebulous word. It's hard to kind of know exactly what he's saying here. But the Atomic Maverick is definitely like the best quality arc that you can get out of a ski, and like the most stable platform, best turn initiation. I mean, it really like kind of stands head and shoulders above most other skis. But I don't know. He's saying the words he's using make it to kind of hard to know exactly what he's trying to say here.
Get good vibration damping, you get good torsional stiffness, all that good stuff, but then you can take them off trail and you're not going to feel like the ski is fighting you.
Okay, I don't know if this is him skiing, but that's really good skiing. Yeah, like he's like loading it up, arcing turn to turn, totally connecting those on a beautiful stow run. Dang, this is like some of the best skiing I've seen on ski reviews. His inside hand is kind of like down below his waist, so like, you know, again, this is just a message in a bottle that no one will see. But if you wanted some free advice, I would just say like, one thing someone from BMA taught me is like, when you have your inside hand, it can be a little awkward, you don't know what to do with it, especially when you get your hips in. Just kind of push your inside hand forward, or I guess it's your downhill hand, but kind of push it forward, and then once you go to your next turn, keep that inside elbow up and kind of rotate your shoulder forward, and that'll kind of keep you over the front of your skis rather than what he's doing, which is having his hands back here, and you know, over time that can kind of get you in the back seat. So a very small nitpick. I mean, this is great carving, but just something that would maybe make you a little bit more comfortable in your transitions from turn to turn. But overall, I mean, probably the best skiing. I guess I've been watching curated videos, so it's a low bar to clear, but definitely the best skiing I've seen in a ski review in a while.
This is a true North American all-mountain ski. They relied on North American.
Yeah, see what I mean with that hand? That's why his pull sometimes gets like sideways behind him, because his inside hand now he doesn't know what to do with it. Yeah, just bring that downhill hand forward and keep that inside hand up, and it'll be a lot more comfortable for you, and you won't have to work your core as hard to kind of get from turn to turn. But I say this as a, you know, fellow East Coaster. I know it's hard. Sometimes you just kind of have to throw form to the wind depending on the conditions.
Skiers when they designed it and developed it, and I think that really does come through in its performance. So here in North America, think of the vast range in terrain and snow conditions we have. You know, you could live here in...
You know, it's so messed up. Just seeing that wind barrier, I know exactly where he's skiing. Just that like one little weird wind barrier. I know that from like ski racing and going over there so often. I know exactly where he is. That's a little trippy. Right, like look how foggy it is, and like I know exactly what run's coming up. It's gonna get a little steeper after this pitch after he's done. Weird. Grooves kind of like carved out in my brain.
Vermont, and this isn't even like the best example. You could live in coastal Maine, like where I grew up, and you're skiing firm snow all the time. I should say that to people here in Vermont. You guys think we have firm snow? Go ski in like the greater Portland area, and then...
Oh, give me a break. It's not that much worse in Maine. If you look at the whole spectrum of skiing, like West Coast, Utah, you got Colorado, you got like Pacific Northwest. Oh, Maine is worse than Vermont. Give me a big break. I mean, I skied at Sunday River. I skied all of those places in Maine. I almost went to school in Maine. God help me. Give me a break. Don't whine me. Oh, I mean, you know why it's so much worse? Because you're skiing at Stowe, and Stowe like takes really good care of their snow. But go to Jake Peak, dude. Oh God. Oh God. Give me a break. What a bunch of baloney. Oh man, you think it's bad here, wait till you go to Maine. Oh, you think it's bad in Maine, wait till you go out into the middle of the ocean. That's even harder to ski. Oh God. I mean, I don't know. Dude, go to J Peak, then go to Maine, and then if you can still complain, we'll talk. But I don't want to hear it. I'm from Vermont, and I'm from Northeast Vermont. Okay, I grew up near the Canadian border. I don't want to hear, oh, Maine's so much worse. Yeah, that's because you're skiing at Stowe, where they like manicure it, and the lodge looks like a Victorian library. Yeah, okay. I mean, Vermont, I gotta give it respect no matter what, but don't be talking Maine. God. Maine. Okay. Anyway, sorry. That's a tangent.
And tell me how firm the snow is. You know, just a lot of thaw, freeze cycles, a lot of moisture in the air. You get a lot of really firm conditions. This ski can handle stuff like that.
Dude, go to like wind-blown J Peak where they like will shut the chair off halfway on you, and then you get that. I mean, you get that moisture, but it just freezes. It freezes night, freezes day. Here it might freeze and then it softens up. No, J Peak. No. You're like between ice and super ice. God. Okay.
And then think about like Utah. Like you're in the Wasatch Mountains somewhere. You just have like all this light, dry, fluffy snow. Horizon Tech, Tip Rocker.
Okay, I watched a few of this guy's reviews, and every time I watch it, I'm like, dude, move. No one's forcing you to live there. I moved. Yes, the snow is light. The snow is fluffy. It's just as magical as you imagined. Move, dude. He looks like he's a hostage. Like, blink twice if you have a chain underneath that desk. Anyway, I know it's a workbench. Okay, just desk was the first word I thought of. Anyway.
Whole shaping concept works really well in softer snow. And then the terrain, you know, we have big mountains, we have little mountains, we have everything in between. And the Maverick skis, I think Atomic did a great job making them appropriate and also rewarding to ski in a wide range of terrain.
Okay, normally I would like slam somebody for this because this sounds like a sales pitch, but he's totally right. I reviewed the first pair of Vantages back in like 2015, which is just the predecessor to the Atomic Maverick, and it felt great at Loon Mountain. And I know Bob, I watch you guys, I know Bob is like, he knows a lot about Loon or something. Yeah, okay. I tested the Vantages at Loon Mountain, and I tested the Mavericks in Idaho. And I would say he's not actually exaggerating here. He's totally on the money. It is a diverse and rewarding ski in all of those conditions, and that whole spectrum of conditions. So I normally like to be like what did someone say? I'm opinionated, and I am. But he's right. I gotta call him like I see him. He's right about this one.
Mountains. Doesn't matter where you live. You can live on the East Coast, you can live on the West Coast. A ton of people are gonna enjoy this ski. It's just,
he's right.
I know I probably sound like a broken record, but it's just extremely well-rounded. Really, really even mix of performance characteristics, both for on-trail use and for off-trail use. The fact that it's kind of lighter on your feet is just a bonus because you get less tired throughout the day. It doesn't feel like it's pulling your feet off. You're pulling your legs out of their socket when you're riding the chairlift back up. So great.
This man was dedicated to the one take. He's like, no, I'm gonna recover. We're not retaking. But he's totally right. I mean, they're super light, but they also feel really stable once you build that platform to stand on. And it's like, normally I would feel like I'm sacrificing something with a ski that light, and somehow these are still the best ski, and they just happen to also be light. I mean, yeah, he's totally right.
Ski from Atomic, that's the Maverick 95 Ti. Let us know if you have any questions as usual, and we'll see you out there on the slopes.
I mean, this was great, by the way. This was a good video. Ski Essentials, we got no beef yet. I mean, I'm gonna keep looking, but I mean, the main comment, God, we almost started beefing, but yeah, what he's saying though is that like, it's a very diverse ski. I would say that like, if I was on the East Coast still, I probably wouldn't want the 95 as much as the 88. I get that you guys get powder days, but like the amount of like responsiveness that you kind of lose going 88 to 95, it's not a ton, but it is somewhat noticeable. If I'm on the West Coast, I think 88, 95, either one, you could be fine. If you get the 95, you probably need powder skis fewer of the days. But if you get the 88, you can really shred and just get a dedicated pair of powder skis. But I wish he would have kind of talked about that a little bit more, because in order for the 95s to make sense to purchase, like just me as a consumer, I need to know why I would rule out the 88 Ti and go to the 95. And he touched on it a little bit, but I think that in order to justify the 95's existence a little bit better, you need to address the kind of the elephant in the room, which is the 88 Ti and the 100 Ti. I'm sure that they do separate reviews, but you know, nothing lives in a vacuum. So compare it to that, and then also, you know, just compare it to more skis that are kind of in its range rather than going straight for the Redster. Maybe compare it to the Mindbender, to the K2 Mindbender and the Vocal Mantra, things like that. But overall, pretty dang good review. And this guy has to be a good skier, like, to feel some of the things he's saying. So, you know, I give him 2 thumbs up. That was a good review. He kind of overlooks some things as a consumer that I'd be looking for, and oh god, you know, the main thing, don't get me started. But overall, this looked like somebody who was loading the ski and really feeling it the whole way through the turn. The hop turns were a little weird, but you know, sometimes people just have these habits that they like to do, and you know, if you get into different conditions, they kind of come out. But I saw some really great skiing on there. So Ski Essentials, nice review. Yeah, again, you know, talk about the 88 Ti. I know the 95s are more expensive and they're wider, but if I was on the East Coast, I would probably be looking at the 88 Ti's first. Unless you're really looking for something that is like your ultimate one ski quiver, but even then, I don't know. At least give me a comparison and kind of give me some, like, I don't want to just be floating around with this review. I want to know, like, okay, 100 Ti, 88 Ti, 95 Ti. Where does this kind of exist in that range? But yeah, Ski Essentials, okay. Nice review, I see you. That was good skiing too. Overall, 2 thumbs up. Anyway, this is kind of new ground for me. I'm kind of marching through uncharted territory and going into these Ski Essentials reviews. But as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me on this journey together. And yeah, more than anything, thank you for watching. If you like this content, please feel free to like, subscribe. There's even like a little bell you can ring to get notifications. That way you don't have to kind of go out and search for each individual piece of content. You can kind of just get those notifications and it'll be fed to you. So thank you so much everybody who watches this. I really appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.